So, but here's your.
Yes, totally.
This is the law 63. The amount that paid to the town.
Yeah, that I have.
So it's 2,500.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
Not since 1963. Unless they.
7 o'clock.
Legislation.
Yeah. Well, you could lease the property, you could have an operator, and then they would pay $300,000.
There's another thing we fixed. And the snow removal.
I talked to him.
It had to be reviewed every 5 years.
Representative of him.
And what we did was we made it so we didn't have to do the admin process. The only thing we have to do is how many times we need to do it. Have to submit well,
Wacky has COVID.
I knew about that.
All right. The time being 7 o'clock. Let's start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by representatives.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Are starting out the night. We have no agenda, but we do have an agenda. Unfortunately, you'll have to take my word for it. We have no minutes to report, so we will get right to the prime business of the selection of commissioner for the Gunstock area commission. And we have 4 candidates. I think we have 3 present with us tonight. So we'll see if Heidi Pross is currently not with us, but perhaps she's been delayed and I hope did not go to a different facility, which would be a problem. But we will have our 3 candidates present. And I have handed out numbers so that they can choose their order, or they have chosen their order. As each member is being interviewed, the other 2 or 3 will enjoy our conference room number 2 and have a nice conversation while the interrogation takes place in our room here. So we will do 15 minutes for each candidate. We will ask all of our questions. For that 15 minutes, you can monologue us 15 minutes if you like and avoid the questioning. No interrogation would be fine. Or you can make your pitch and then reserve time for questions and answers. Who's going to be my official timekeeper while I'm... Perhaps my parliamentarian would be a timekeeper for the 15 minutes per candidate.
Certainly.
You don't have to use all 15 minutes if it's not necessary and we run out of questions for you. That's fine. So we have numbers. Did anyone draw number 1? Oh, that would have been Heidi. You would move back to the back of the bus. So who's got number 2?
I do.
Russ.
Yes.
Russ DeMay, our current sitting commissioner at Gunstock. Take the stand and give us your pitch.
Mr. Chair, I will hold up a 1 if we ever get to 14 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll hold up a 1 if you get to 14 minutes.
Okay.
I'd just like to give you some background of who I am. I went to Summersworth High School. I went to Plymouth State, and I went to University of Connecticut, graduate school in economics. I taught school at Laconia High School and was the ski coach. In terms of skiing, I worked for Attitash Ski Area, and I was assigned the development of Alpine Ridge, which is the property next door to Gunstock, which Gunstock now owns. I redeveloped the lift. It was a hall ski lift with an AC drive over to what was the first DC drive in New Hampshire. DC meaning direct current, the ability to take a lift and push a button and increase the speed, or push a button and decrease the speed, which made the lift much more manageable for the skiing public, and in the summertime, the Alpine Slide public. Built the Alpine Slide. It was 3,800 feet long. It was a double slide, one next to the other, with the same configuration. It was 3,800 feet long, and I was perplexed how I was going to get those pieces to the top along a terrace that we built. Finally, I called Wigan Air over in Concord, asking him if he thought he could transport these pieces up along the terrace with the helicopter. And he said he could. So it took us 3 days to move about 2,600 pieces along the terrace to the top. And then I engaged some local kids, and I had Ernie Golan. Some of you probably don't know him, but he was a high guy in the phone company who I ski patrolled with at Gunstock. And he ran one crew, and I had the other crew. And we started building the slide. And we did that in about 22 days. And we got the thing prepared and got it online. And it was an overwhelming success. Attitash had one. No, we had one in Guilford. And we had a free day, and we probably had 3,000 people show up for the free day. We built the lodge, the cafeteria, cocktail lounge, and we ran that operation for about 10 years. Sold the property to Milo Pike, who at the time was trying to somehow negotiate the purchase of Gunstock, and he wanted to do the add Alpine Ridge to it, but it never went to fruition. Owned and operated several businesses. I was a member of the legislature here with some of you folks. I've met payrolls and have supervised over 100 employees. And now I'm a commissioner of Gunstock, and I take pride in the fact that at Gunstock we've made some strides. We had we had the best winter last winter in our history. We had great snow, even with COVID, and we were going into the season anticipating we were going to be looking at each other And quite to the contrary, folks had enough of COVID. It was outside, it was cold weather, and we had a terrific winter. And you folks have seen those records, I'm sure. So I'm here asking you to give me another term as commissioner at Gunstock. I'll entertain any questions you have, I hope.
Questions from the delegation? Representative Terry.
What do you see as the greatest challenge facing Gunstock in the immediate future, and how would you propose to address it?
Well, there are a whole host of challenges. The trouble is, looking right now at what those challenges are, you never know because they're just on the horizon. But getting people to get out and continue to look at skiing as a place that's safe. I think that we're still suffering from post COVID, and that's a problem. And I think that's the major one.
And how do you propose to address that?
Well, we're marketing Gunstock. We've gone to all the shows. We have made sure that our employees are safe. They take tests periodically to make sure that they're COVID-free. And we are social distancing where we can. So I don't know what else you can do. You really can't give a person a test because if you've got a couple thousand people, it just doesn't work. So, but I hope that we have some natural snow, which creates an appetite for skiing. Bare ground sends a lot of folks to Florida.
Further questions? Representative Loger, then Representative Harvey-Bolia.
Thank you. What are your goals for the next 5 years? What do you hope to accomplish or do for this?
Well, we hired a new group. We have a new general manager, president, general manager, a new comptroller, and they're very, very bright people, very innovative, and they're forthcoming with all kinds of ideas and plans to make us more efficient. The online purchasing of tickets was an absolute boom. And I'm not a techie by any means. I'm a hands-on kind of person. And I was very skeptical at whether or not online sales would work. And by God, it was the cracker. It worked terrific. And it allowed us to anticipate the crowds and have the staff necessary and the preparation necessary to accommodate those folks. And day after day, they kept coming. I'd have never predicted it. Thanks for the question.
Representative Harvey-Bolia.
Thank you very much. I am not overly familiar with the budget over at Gunstock, but I did look at the projects page last night and saw that Gunstock has, looks like a big project about every 5 years. And the bonds don't seem to be paid off on some of the projects, but yet it seems like, and forgive me if I'm not about bonds, all the budgetary details, but it seems like that you take out and start a new project without the first bond being paid off. Can you talk a little bit more about, this whole, obviously I think the big ski areas, they want to do a big project every 5 years. So,
You got to do it more than every 5 years. The ski business is very, very competitive. If you look at New Hampshire, when I first got involved, there were 50 some odd ski areas. Now, 17, something like that, 17. And they're all significant areas. And it's very costly. To build a lift today is a monumental project and expensive, and you need a lot of lead time. So you have to anticipate this kind of stuff, and it has to fit the mountain and the dynamic. And if it doesn't fit the mountain, some people overbuild lifts, and what happens is it becomes very crowded, and that's a real negative in the ski business. When I was at Attitash, they were the first ski area to sell limited number of tickets. You called in, there were X number of tickets available, and when those were sold, that was it. It caught on. I'm not sure we have that as the primary, but we're cognizant of the fact that if you oversell, it's a real negative if the lines are 15 or 20 minutes long. Doesn't work. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat, and someone could follow.
Sure.
I'm a Gunstock skier, and I love Gunstock. I've been skiing there for like 10 years. But I've noticed that since I started there, we don't have Belknap County Day like we used to. It was $25 on Tuesdays. That was, I thought, a great benefit to residents in the area. Now they have something sort of similar. You can buy a pass, you can pay, and you get half off, and certain days, there's a lot of blackout days. And then I heard rumor that may be done away with as well. Can you tell me a little bit about plans for doing something for the county residents?
Well, the county residents get a season pass cheaper than people from outside of the county. And they get day tickets, I think, cheaper than people from, maybe not day tickets, but I think the season pass tickets. Less than what somebody from out of state would get. And what we try to do is have specials on days for local people as well. But the difficulty in the ski business is revenue. You never know what's going to happen the next day. It could rain and the season could be over with. So, I understand what you're saying, but you have to be profitable. If you aren't profitable, you're out of business.
Representative Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a current commissioner, what are the different cost centers with Gunstock, and where is the profit margin on each of those cost centers?
I don't know what every one of them are, but the biggest profit item is the lift ticket.
I was going over the packet that we received in the mail, and we had discussed, I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before, about having it broken down so that the delegation could see the profit margins on each of the cost areas. And yet I looked on the website, I looked at the packet, and I didn't see those broken down. Is there a reason why that hasn't been done?
I didn't know you wanted it.
That was your 1 minute signal. Give us 30 seconds for closing.
Well, I have experience in the ski business. I'm a local businessman. I'm an enthusiast of Gunstock. And I think I have some skills that few people have. And that I can apply those skills to make Gunstock more successful.
Thank you very much, Commissioner May. Would you go out, tell number 3 to come in, and you can join number 4.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Prowl.
Probably, yes.
Thank you for coming and applying to be commissioner. We'll let you monologue for as long as you like, and then you can take questions. Feel free to go ahead. Our timekeeper over here will let us know when you have 1 minute left.
I'd just like to make
So, while I'm a relatively new resident, both summer and enthusiastic opportunity to run craft fair this past weekend. And as a skier, I'm easy to remember one of those folks who contributed to the nice surplus on I understand the commission is intended to provide functional and support towards those who operate on a very basis to ensure that we maximize the value of the area in adherence to the statute for recreation, development, and management and residents. Selected for the commission, my goal is to work closely with the other commissioners, find my skills and experience from a business and technology perspective towards I don't run into this process deep and specific agenda for the top. As a leader of many agencies, both in the US and Europe, I focus heavily on active listening and using data about productivity, quality, customer satisfaction, and many other business and technical KPIs to quickly reach rational decisions for our entire team and execute. Doesn't mean those decisions are always right, but when they're not, we can learn from them and tweaks that we can improve on performance. I chose to work at Fitbit, see on my resume, because I believe in the value of physical activity to improve health, wellness, and quality of life. I can clearly see that the Gunstock recreation area is an asset for the health and economy of our county. And my skills and experience can be helpful to the commission. And I would welcome the opportunity to serve. Now, questions?
Members, questions? Representative Howard, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want this to sound like a silly question, but were you born in New Hampshire or Maine?
Me.
Maine, okay. And do you consider yourself a citizen of New Hampshire now, or you're still a citizen of Maine?
I'm a resident of New Hampshire.
Well, there's a difference between resident and citizen. Have you declared your oath to the state of New Hampshire?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Are you registered to vote?
Yes, sir.
In Laconia?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Representative Lang.
So, given what's been going on in Gunstock, what would be your plans or your guidance for the next 5 years? How do you see it, Gunstock can grow or manage its growth over the next couple of years?
well, like I said, I
Mr. Chair.
Representative Comtois, then Representative Silver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I appreciate you applying for the position. It's really great that we have a nice pool of applicants to choose from. My question is to you is have you attended any of the gun commissioners meetings to understand what's going on or reviewed any of the minutes?
I have reviewed the minutes over the last several months. Haven't attended any of the previous meetings. I just found out about the opportunity recently, and
Representative Silber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for applying and offering yourself as a candidate. Have you personally reviewed the enabling legislation and the bylaws of the Gunstock Area Commission? Follow up. Have you reviewed the latest audited financial statements of the Gunstock Area Commission? Thank you.
Further questions? I've got one. You're coming from Utah, so I guess you're familiar with ski areas and ski business. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry. So are you familiar with the ski industry as far as where it's going, trends within the industry? Okay. Further questions? All right. I think we appreciate you for applying, and if you would go out and get number 4 and send it
Thank
this
you all
way.
for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
While we're waiting for the next candidate to run in, Representative Bean is celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary tonight, so he has a good excuse for not being here.
I'm all set. One of my, I don't know if you call it opponents or what have you, came in and told me to break a leg as I was walking out. I said, we don't say that in the skiing world, ever. But nevertheless.
If you would grab a seat in front of that microphone, that would be good for the people who are listening at home.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Not used to sitting around, but sure.
So give us whatever monologue you like, and then our timekeeper, Representative Terry, will indicate when you have 1 minute left. We'll
Sure.
ask you questions if you would like to be interrogated.
Hey. You can beat me up as much as you like. I'm used to it. I've worked at Gunstock for 5 years as a ski instructor. I have ridden out my fair share of difficult days, but nevertheless, I love it. I'm committed to the mountain. I just want to start by thanking Chairman Sylvia and Vice Chairman Howard, also to the members of this delegation, for giving me the opportunity tonight to explain my desire to run for commissioner. Obviously, you're the types to do your homework, so you've read my resume. You'll see that I'm a ski instructor. I'm sure you've noticed that. It's was quite for the past few years. I've really enjoyed meeting and sharing ideas with all of you. I can confidently admit those of you I have met agree different. I mean, you have to tactics that will help you manage the situation, whether it's dealing with weather, whether it's dealing with obstacles in the way. Somewhere with this, just remember my handle, which is to stay with it. All of you have obviously worked hard and have values. All of you care about the outcome of your run. And when I say run, I'm referring to basically when I take a run on a mountain. Knowing that the Gunstock Area Commission has requested a grant approval from the delegation for the past 20 years, many of those years with an average of $850,000, I would assess the run, the tactics, as surviving the trail, relying on a wedge, a snowplow, or unattended pizza. So my vision for Gunstock, New Hampshire ski areas in a variety of capacities. Much to my delight, I've driven through more than my fair share of muddy parking lots looking for a place to park during spring skiing, including Gunstocks. I've paid a pretty penny in multiple resorts for childcare and lessons for my own children, and even rentals. What I am bringing to the current commission is not the same tactical way to make ends meet. For 5 years, I've observed a rebranding, dutifully respected many changes in management, policies, point of sale, 1 point led a seasonal group for 8 weeks that involved 8 7-year-olds by myself, some snowplowing, some carving. Completely alone. I understand that there's not an easy answer. I've seen and heard firsthand from my students, coworkers, and frankly my neighbors about the blind spots and conversely the innovation of likely well-meaning commissioners. And I take nothing away from the accomplishments of my predecessors. But so many visionaries think of their ideas as a silver bullet when it comes to Gunstock. I feel that a novice enterprise that would bring, they think that it's going to bring the masses if they just present this shiny new thing. That's how it feels from the bottom up. Leadership is coming from the top down. And as a result, employees are weathering, as I said in my letter of intent, whiplash with changes every single year. Sometimes down to the day. And that's okay. Like I said, when you're skiing, you have to use tactics to get through it and be creative. But nevertheless, it's future generations without burdening our taxpayers. We all know that they will probably be heavily burdened as it is in the very near future. So on the Gunstock Area Commission website, I'd just like to point out that anyone can see that the 5-member board is appointed by the delegation. This is a quote. With the responsibility of managing Gunstock Mountain Resort as a financially independent, self-sustaining organization. If I'm appointed to represent this delegation, I aim to promote communication and transparency between the delegation and the commission, as well as to hold the commission to its mission statement. Again, I'd like to thank you for your time and your commitment to this great resource. I'm eager to serve Gunstock Area's Commission and look forward to taking the oath in October. I would enthusiastically sign the ethics policy to reiterate my commitment to honesty and integrity, just in case anyone wouldn't take my word for it. Hopefully I didn't max out on time, but I will take any questions.
Representative Boards.
So you want Gunstock to be financially self-sustaining. What will you do to enable that?
Well, you have to hold people accountable for one. You have to actually read through the financial statements, which I have right here. You have to understand the when. The ability to produce the delineation between, for example, demographics, like where their consumers are coming from, for example, then we can better know if Gunstock has the technology to do these types of researching, but I just feel that it's very critical if you're in charge of running a business that you have all the information you need and that you look at it critically to understand how can we move forward. Why should we be building and paving a parking lot when he just said his biggest challenge is getting people there? So who's going to come to a mountain just to park? People come to Gunstock Mountain to ski. So, sorry, that was a little
Questions?
unpassionate.
Representative Howard.
Are you aware that under the enabling statute that I'm not 100% sure, but you probably won't be able to be an employee there, serving as commissioner?
Yes, I'm completely aware of that. In one capacity, it's a little bit of a relief. But last night, I'll be honest, I have the only piece of equipment that I've ever worn, and my coworker's nervous. And you probably recognize this logo, but this vest was given to me 5 years ago. I had never worn a parka because I'm always working so hard on that mountain, teaching the kids and others how to ski and how to love snow sports so that we can to bring people to the mountain. They're not coming for pizza and french fries. They're not coming to park in a parking spot for $1,000. They're not even coming for food trucks. So, not even the mountain coaster, probably, but we don't know because we haven't seen financial statements that support whether or not that's profitable. So to get back to your point, yes, I'm aware. I was with tears eyes last night that I looked at my vest and I said, oh.
down to the last minute, I'll give you a short question, and a short answer would be appropriate.
Okay.
As an instructor, do you see more young people or younger people coming into the sport than are aging out? And I'm sorry, you'll have to make that short.
Well, I have to be specific. I'll try to be quick about this. I'm a children's specialist certified for skiing, which means that I'm here to work with children and I'm here to do that. I have seen on the hilltop that there have been marketing strategies to bring in skiers of all ages, or even women's days, various different things. I am concerned about the youth and the ratio of older skiers aging out. But for me, there could never be too many new skiers. And my job when I'm there is not just to get them
Through an hour or two, and have
my job
is to
try to be lifelong skiers of these kids. And I'm pretty successful.
Great, thank you very much. I guess I'll assign you the job of going and bringing in the other candidates.
Oh.
And
Maybe.
I haven't seen Heidi show up, so unless she's there, do me a favor and bring the rest of the folks in.
And thank you all for your time. Just remember, last but not least, okay?
It's by statute. It has to be done.
The rain at our event got onto the flagpole for the American flag, and it just expanded. It is now stuck to the base. Get it out.
Mr. Chair, I have a writing question. So procedurally, how are we thinking we're going to, procedurally, how are we going to move about the vote? Are we going to have an open discussion at this point about the candidates and then do a ballot or do just a motion and a,
I think we'll do, so we'll discuss the candidates and then we will vote, roll call vote for the candidate of choice. Assuming that no candidate makes majority. Does that count here? We have 15?
We have 15.
So 8 votes would be a winner. The first round produces a tie with those, not a tie. Well, if there's a tie of the second and third, then I guess we would start over again. If we have less than majority for any one candidate, then we take the lowest vote out and vote for
so we're going to do paper ballots?
just a voice vote.
Just a voice vote.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Question to follow up on
Yes.
Representative Lang's question. So there will no longer be any questions. Is that correct?
Correct.
But they're coming back in,
Yes.
and we're going to deliberate together in front of them what our
Public meeting.
It's a
concerns
public
and
meeting.
questions.
Yes.
Right.
And if they don't want to be here, I guess they can go.
I don't think
We
it'll
won't
get-
make
I
it.
don't think it'll get that bad.
Just, no motion, you'll just vote for your favorite candidate, and the clerk will call roll.
Already got it all set up to go.
Greg, would you retrieve our candidates? I thought this was the case.
They're lost in space.
She was a little nervous.
Especially when
Maybe
you're
they're
dropping
duking it
your-
out.
They don't want to Maybe only one person's coming back.
That's right. You're all blooded up and stuff.
Yeah, well, they could, they can watch on YouTube. That's the way they like to do their business things, days, I guess. Save the travel time. All right, so nobody's seen Heidi. Unfortunate to I missed her. I didn't hear anything from her.
Still gets-
We'll go on.
Yeah, even if she went to the wrong venue, she's had enough time to back over.
Right, it's a bit of a drive.
Where
So,
might she have gone?
hmm?
Where might she have gone?
She might have gone to Gunstock.
Oh,
Mars.
So the difficult thing of public business is we do all of our business in public unless someone is being chastised with personnel. So we are going to now open a discussion of the candidates, what we feel. And after that, we will have a vote to determine who is our next commissioner for the next 5 years. Just a note, Russ was appointed at the end of October of 16, so we will make the appointment effective at the end of October with the Gunstock meeting in October. So with that, all right, let's get to discussions. Representative Lang.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I thank you to all the candidates who applied for the position. They have unique skills that would help Gunstock in a different way. But I guess as I listen to all three candidates, and I look at the minutes of the Gunstock meeting, I guess I'm not sure everybody knows, but Gunstock looks like they're going to return $250,000 roughly back to the delegation, to the county, compared to the normal 175 we've been getting. And to me, that kind of goes to show that the commission has adapted to the new statutory language that was put in and dealing with the issues of COVID. And I guess I don't like changing horses midstream, and so I think that Russ has showed good leadership, and I'm going to tend to vote towards Russ for that reason.
Further thoughts? Representative Howard.
Seen any hands, I'll go. 6 years ago, we started down this road to address some issues at Gunstock. And the delegation more or less decided to not do reappointments, but to appoint some new blood to the commission and see if we can address some of the issues that we were having with Gunstock. As Representative Lang mentioned, with some changes to the enabling statute, we got out of the MOA agreements, which was a very contentious issue. And we got onto a new path of how the county's going to benefit from the success of Gunstock, depending on the success of Gunstock. Obviously, the way the statute still reads, if there's no profits, there will be no revenues made to the county. I think we still need to stay on this path. One of the examples I'm going to bring up right now is this is an operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2015. It's pretty detailed, numerous pages, some good material. I won't spend the time reading it. This is what we got this year. A lot of unanswered questions. It's hard to get questions answered, and personally, I'm not really happy with the way things have been going for the last 4 or 5 months under the current makeup of the delegation. So I am going to be supporting a new candidate for the commission. And I think, given the two choices I have to make, I will probably be going with a former employee who has some background and knowledge of how Gunstock operates.
Thank you. Further comments, discussions? Representative Comtois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the candidates for coming. I really appreciated your time. I'm a little bit concerned that Commissioner Dumais did not know that we have requested a breakdown by cost item for profitability. This has been discussed over a few years now, and I don't have the video in front of us, but I was told that it was something that the commissioners were it was very important for them to know which items are making money, which aren't. And yet, as Representative Howard just pointed out, today we don't know that. And Commissioner Dumais said he didn't realize it's something that we had wanted. And it has been requested in the past at a few meetings. So I was a little surprised at that. So based on that and not realizing that, knowing the profit of each cost center, I'm going to have to choose someone else.
Further comments? Are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
All right, so we will go around the room. We are not taking public comment. This is amongst the group here. So we are,
Secretary call the vote.
that is where we're headed. So when the clerk calls your name, you can vote for Dumais, Crowell, or Wood.
Point of clarification, even though Heidi wasn't here, she's still an applicant. Just asking. She is.
Yeah.
So
Probably should.
Yeah, somebody wants to.
you may also vote for Heidi Price. Of course. In abstention, I guess. So if the clerk would call a roll.
Representative Howard,
Would,
Representative Aldridge,
Wood.
Representative Boards, Representative Avibulia. Representative Huff,
Wood.
Representative Johnson,
Wood.
Representative Lang,
Dumais.
Representative Littlefield.
Wood.
Representative O'Hara is not here. Representative Boucher. Representative Silver.
Wood.
Representative Terry.
Wood.
Representative Varney.
Wood.
Representative Comtois. Wood. Mr. Chair.
Prowl.
And 3 absent. Any totals? Missing something.
14 is right.
Yes.
Okay, so. Russ Dumais received 4 votes. Jason Sproul received 1 vote, and Jade Wood received 9 votes. She has met the requirement.
So the next Gunstock commissioner appointed in October will be Jade Wood. Congratulations. Commissioner Dumais, we are very happy to have had you as commissioner, and we appreciate all the hard work you've done. Thank you very much.
yes, that goes for me too.
Thank you. Representative Jose.
Yes, I reached out to the candidates for the spot.
All right, the next order of business will be the Gunstock Commissioner, Chairman Kadash, and Brian Gallagher would like to give us our new members some information about Gunstock and an introduction, in case you haven't had enough already. But there's a lot of stuff going on. There's plans coming, and we'd like to hear about that. The commissioners have withdrawn their request for a RAND. Financial position of Gunstock is excellent, and therefore they will not need the money, and they will be saving $15,000 in fees that would go along with seeking the RAND. So, Commissioner, if you'd like to step up, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Gary, Chairman of the Gunstock.
It's for YouTube, so don't worry too much about it, I guess.
My wife complains about that. By the way, I bet you, tonight is my 52nd wedding anniversary. And all at the same moment.
Not me. I'm only 26 years.
Oh, okay. I thought, who was the 50?
I'll be.
Oh, okay.
He's not here.
I missed that.
He's not here, he's with his wife.
We look
That's
alike.
right. Yeah, well, that's where I should be tonight, too. But thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for the time to address the delegation and particularly the new members. We would like to host you to a meet and greet sometime in October when the business slows down a little bit and we won't have customers all over the place, and give you a tour of the facilities and show what's been done over the past years. But 3 years ago in this room, when I was being selected as a commissioner, the last question I was asked was, can Gunstock be self-sustaining? And I said, indeed it can, because I had come from running Stowe Mountain Resort for 8 years, and every single year it returned to 15% EBITDA. This company just returned a 19% EBITDA and broke every single record ever known, with skier visits, with profitability, earnings, free cash flow. And that's because there's been a paradigm shift over the last 3 to 4 years. The shift was that we moved from a model where the delegation told a general manager what to do, the general manager executed that. And we really never had a master plan, a full potential plan, which we will be releasing and presenting to you in the next months. And our annual operating plan was mostly developed by the delegation. We changed that arrangement when Mr. Goddard indicated he wanted to retire. We changed the responsibility of that role to president and general manager, and put more responsibilities on that individual and the CFO. The CFO, who has been here now at least 3 years. Greg, how long has she been with us? How many years before? 3. Okay, she was there before I came. And so the mountain company last year never had to access the RAND. It paid down debt, and I'm going to let my friend handle that because he's better with all of those numbers, and I want him to go on it. But what I want you to know is that the company is in a very good position right today. It started out in 1936. My father taught skiing there before the war, and after he came back after the war. And I learned many days myself how to ski on the mountain, but it's a jewel. There's 2,100 acres there. It is geographically located in an ideal location. There is a huge audience in the summertime, which we tap. And our winter venues have really increased in profits significantly. And in fact, we do have profit by profit centers and contribution margin. And Mike and Ray, you remember when I first came on the commission, I mandated that we look at each profit center individually and contribution margin so that we knew what those are. And those are available to anybody. And they're reported every single month in detail, line by line, and we go over it. So if you ever want to get more information, you're welcome to attend any one of our meetings or ask for that information, and we will send you a monthly financial package like what we present in an open public meeting every single month. And I serve currently on 4 other boards, one on a $1 billion public company and 2 other companies under $100 million. And I will tell you that the relationship that we currently have between the Gunstock commissioners and the management team is extraordinary. And we've got very, very good talent. In fact, we've got talent that could get jobs for much more than we pay them. And in fact, this was the first year we ever paid bonuses to management, and it was because of the extraordinary year they produced and the free cash flow that they produced. We do have a very exciting master plan that we've been working on for the last 3 years. It had not been updated in a long time. And we've been working with a professional organization, Snow Engineering, which had worked on all the previous plans with Greg, and updated that, and that will be released in the next month or so, which will demonstrate an ability to transform Gunstock Mountain Resort in an even more sustainable way. And one of the things that Russ stumbled a little bit on, this is an industry of variable income and fixed expenses. It's like farming. And so you need to make sure that you control your costs. And when you get a variable income, you better adjust it. And that's what this management team has been doing. And it's also a capital intensive business. And we have been paying down our debt. We paid down debt this year. We paid off a concessionaire breakup fee this year. I'll let my colleagues call down on you. But what we have there, and the reason I'm here, I make $25 a month, and spend about 10 to 15 hours a month on this project, is because I want to pay forward. And I want us to be proud of that resort. And if you go up there today, you're going to see all the lifts painted. You're going to see buildings rehabilitated. You're going to see ski trails better groomed. You're going to see better service. You're going to see an operating plan, which is a profit plan. And we often heard that the mountain company is a not-for-profit business. Well, it has to be a for-profit business, because if it's not a for-profit business, it will not survive. And there are only 17 ski areas remaining in New Hampshire, and we compete against mega corporations, private equity funded, with billions of dollars. Not only did they get PPP money this last year, which we did not get, but they have the freewheeling capital investment of other interested parties that get a return on investment. And they're very aggressive. They're aggressive in building lifts. They're aggressive in their marketing. And so for Gunstock to have had such a good year and to perform in New Hampshire better than all the other ski areas on an average of percentage basis is extraordinary. I'm very proud of what the team has done. I'm very proud of the people that are in place, and I'm also very proud of the commission and what the commission has been able to accomplish. Brian?
Thank you, Gary. My name is Brian Gallagher, from a couple of folks that I don't know. I did serve several years ago with several of the members of the delegation here, so I see some friendly faces and some older faces, including myself. I just wanted to sort of emphasize some information that somehow seems to come out, and the validity of it is suspect. One thing that's happened over the last couple of years, which has been wonderful, we've been able to partner with Chairman Sylvia and Vice Chairman Howard, and some legislation was initiated where we were able to correct issues through the legislature that needed to be corrected. And that was an excellent team effort between both groups. As Tim had pointed out earlier, the result of that was the payment from the profits of Gunstock to Belknap County this year increased 41%. So that's a plus, and we hope going forward that number will be equivalent, if not a little bit higher. The representative from Tilton had talked about the debt service. the good news, and once again, to try to get the facts straight so that they're not information that people think one thing and it's different. By the end of this fiscal year, we will have reduced our debt over the last several years by $3 million. We'll be down to a debt level of $2 million with a favorable interest borrowing rate. That sets us up for opportunities with the assistance from the delegation. There was a reference to the revenue anticipation note. The revenue anticipation note is a common practice for businesses for cash flow purposes. We tonight, with Michael and I think Ray and Norm present, we withdrew our request. And the reason we withdrew our request is because we are self-sustaining kind of an enterprise. We are making money and we're doing much better because of many programs that have been put in place. Last weekend, if anyone had the opportunity to go to the craft fair, which is a small little activity at Gunstock, my wife and I were able to go there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And like others, we parked in that parking lot that we're seeking the fair on. We were in the 5th row. By 11 o'clock, you couldn't find a parking space in the parking lot. So things are happening at Gunstock. I think sometimes there's some misunderstanding. When Greg was aboard, he was very helpful. And we created a website about 4 or 5 years ago for Gunstock, and it's still there today. And I just pulled it off tonight because I thought it might be helpful. And under the commissioner's website, it says the Gunstock Area Commissioners meeting materials and financial statements are available upon request to Gunstock Commissioners. Please indicate the document and the date that you're looking for. So anyone here at this table, anyone out in the public that would like information, the access has been there for years. So I just sort of want to correct that misunderstanding that somehow seems to pop up from time to time. The other thing that's important, like you folks as legislators, as a commissioner, until you get involved in it, you do not realize what the volunteer effort will be in terms of time and activity. So we certainly welcome the new commissioner. We're going to continue to do our best to bring more customers. And as you know, as my friend here, Gary, has mentioned, we are on the verge, we're on the cutting edge of presenting a plan to the public in the near future, something that's been talked about for years. And it will do two things. It will maintain the character, the friendly character of Gunstock as an area for people to learn how to ski. But at the same time, it will expand it with partnership, mostly private partnership, which would be non-taxpayer money, in a way that it'll set up this business to succeed going forward in the future for many, many years. So it's pretty exciting. We always enjoy with Michael and Ray attend our monthly meetings. I think in the past I've invited Representative Silver, but he hasn't had the opportunity to come. And any of you folks are always welcome. It's an open forum. Now that it's gotten cooler, we don't need air conditioning. We'll have natural air conditioning by opening the windows. But in a sense, good things are happening at Gunstock, and there's a good team in place. And we continue to expect to go forward and achieve much more. And that's what I'd like to say to you tonight.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anything, general information that you folks need to get from the commissioners? Representative Terry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Kish, due to the limited time with respect to questioning of the candidates this evening, I didn't have an opportunity to touch, or I would have had to ask the same question 3 times, but I think it's more appropriately addressed to you at this time. You have a background in industry, so I'm sure you're very familiar with the term best practices. You indicated that Gunstock did better than any of the other privately run ski centers in New Hampshire. Is that correct?
That's the information I have.
Would you be able to identify for us why you believe that that was the case, that you beat all the other?
There was a survey of performance by each of the ski areas. I believe it's done by the New Hampshire Ski Area Association. If you'd like a copy of that report, I'll ask Tom Day to get it to you.
Okay, I'm sorry for not being clear. Why do you think that you had the superior performance at Gunstock?
Well,
What factors when
first of
you
all,
being the winner? So
first of all, my firsthand experience and seeing the quality of the guest experience that we had, the quality of the improvement of the facilities, the quality of the financials and business. I mean, just take a look at the financials. I'm in the business of buying, fixing, and selling companies. That's what I do. And I look at businesses every day and week for what can be bought and sold and how they can be fixed in underperforming companies. And this was a classic one. If this was for sale, private equity would be all over it because they would see the huge opportunity. Well, that's been captured a lot in the last couple of years. And this last year was extraordinary. There was huge headwinds with COVID. We spent over $150,000 in cleaning for just keeping sanitation. We had $450,000 reduction in food and beverage business because we could only have 50% seating and people had to come in by, you all know what's going on in the restaurant business. But even through that, with those type of headwinds and without PPP, which our other competitors had, this company produced a record profit. And just look at the financials. That's all you really need to look at and say, wow, this company is performing. If you were all investors, you'd be doing handsprings right now because you would see your stock going up extraordinarily. In fact, the value created, well, although we're not in the business of creating value, we're in the business of creating a sustainable and reinvesting our profits back into it rather than distributing it to shareholders. This is the ideal situation to make a dream resort. And our plan that is coming forward has the roadmap to be able to make this resort a mini Deer Valley of the East Coast. And Deer Valley is one of the best. And in fact, when I was at Stowe, I went there, it was a train wreck. In the last 3 years of my 8 years there, we were voted #1 ski area in North America and Canada 3 years in a row. I know what good looks. I know what good feels like. And Gunstock is it. And some of the things you heard tonight are not quite right. And we will need to get those straight. And what I would recommend, Mike, is that we have more participation in our monthly meeting. You're all welcome to come. Every single financial that you ever want to look at is there in the meeting for Ray and Mike to see, and any one of you and the entire public. And we've got one of the best CFOs. Trust me, she's not in this room, so I can say it. I'm safe. I could place her anywhere else in a CFO position for 2 to 3 times what we pay her. We're blessed to have that type of talent. And that's a person that Greg identified and hired before I even came on board. And she's been an extraordinary asset and resource along with our new president. So the whole reason I got involved with this, because I was tired about hearing about how bad the mountain was. And that's just not true. It has challenges, and yes, we don't have a lot of money that we can throw at it, but we are now generating millions of dollars to be able to do that.
Thank you. Kathy is probably getting that video clip edited right now from YouTube and
we made
sending out her resume.
The commission made sure that she got an appropriate bonus this year for her good work.
If I may just add one thing, I'd like to leave this with you, Michael. This is the copy of the oath when Russ was sworn in. So it has the date, and it'll be easy to figure out when the 5-year term ends. So I just want to make sure you have that information.
Great. Very good. Alex, did you have something to say?
Yeah, so I've worked at Gunstock for many years and full-time for Shaw Supermarkets. And I know you've heard a lot of good, a lot of negative. But thanks to Tom and Gary and Greg and Wendy and a lot of the other people that are involved with Gunstock, they have made an incredible resort. And half of our business at Shaw's in the wintertime is because of Gunstock. There's so many people who come in and say, we're going to Gunstock skiing tomorrow. We're going to Gunstock skiing tomorrow. We're really excited to go to Gunstock skiing tomorrow. Oh, we saw you at Gunstock today. We had a really great time. And a big reason why I advanced in my career out of the ski industry is the skills that I've learned from Gunstock. And that comes from Colleen, that comes from Wendy, Greg, Tom, everybody involved. And I really think that you all should see that this is an incredible place. Greg's last hire, Peter Marcroft, is an incredible lift mechanic. Those lifts are safe, they run fantastic, there's never an issue, and if there's an issue, they're right there. So, if you have anything that you want to say about Gunstock in a positive way, just come see me. I can go on and on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the input.
Yeah, I think also one last point I need to make, because I went through this with a permitting process when I was at Stowe. It's important for you to understand the economic engine that this property is. It's not just a ski area. It's just not, or a camping ground. It is an economic engine. And as you mentioned, thank you for making those comments, that you have to understand that if Gunstock went away and just became a parks and recreation campground and a rundown ski area, the economy here would slide. And if you don't believe me, ask anybody that lives in New London and what happened to New London winter business when King Ridge closed.
Very good. Any further interest in Lieutenant Cloget?
Why are we asking for this? I think we settled that. We got stuff. Not even. We talked about economics. Yeah, the assets, total debt assets. I think 36%. That's outstanding. I understand it's accounting thing, there might be taxes or revenue, but not more than 20%. I know you correct me if I'm wrong, I think Gunstock, total debt, total assets is only 36% of that property. Other facilities that I look at in the state, equity and assets, we're talking financials, I'm not a financial wizard. I know my son's not. You say 8% ownership. Now, I want to just bring out 8% ownership. I'm hoping the commission, Gunstock commission, could help the county administration review our bond. That might be worth a 20%. We know how many years it is. I'm wondering if they must have been looking at a different residence low. Yes, yeah, and they just spread it off the freeway. I'm hoping by putting this up, we can negotiate instead of that.
Well, that's what our full potential plan is all about. And that's what I promised this commission when I was elected 3 years ago. And thank you for pointing out the debt to equity ratio. You could never consider this a leveraged asset. And you're right, 50% to 60%. And they're this close to breaking covenants all the time. And it's really scary. But when we publish this master plan, and hopefully you all embrace it, because we'll need your support. And we will need to lay out how it phases out and how it economically can be realized. It's not like all of a sudden one day we're going to dump a whole bunch of money into the resort and take on a whole bunch of debt and just pray that we get an increased revenue to service the debt. We need to see that it gets phased in. The most important, most lucrative investments will be done first. There will be some investments to beget other business that will be attracted to it. In other words, we'll be investing in things that will attract other profit centers that we will participate in. So I'm glad that you brought that up. It is a tremendous asset. One thing that we're doing without burdening you with guaranteeing a $500,000 line of credit is it doesn't go against the county's line of credit. So we're making the first step. And last year you had that burden and we didn't need it. So this year, here we come, and we think we don't need it. Now, God willing, it doesn't rain Christmas, New Year's, Martin Luther King, and February vacation all at the same time. We'll come through this, but we did pressure test. And I assured Chairman Sylvia earlier tonight that we pressure tested our budget from here to the end of the year. And we haircutted it pretty significantly on the revenue side to make sure that we did have enough cushion with the cash that we have on hand right now and the income that will be forthcoming.
And I'm just going to reiterate because I think it's so important. Wednesday, September 22nd, 6 p.m., Stockade Lodge in Gunstock. Everyone's welcome. The information on questions that people may want will be available. And if folks don't come, we will continue to move forward and do our business with diligence. And that's about all we can do. So we invite you to come.
What was that time again?
It's 6 p.m.
6 p.m. on the 22nd.
And I'll maybe close with, because there's this air about that there's not information. As I've mentioned, I sit on 4 other boards. I've been CEO of 6 companies. Every one of them thrived. And I was on the board of all of those companies over the years. Great companies like AIG and AMF and whatnot. None of those companies had a monthly financial review like we have at Gunstock. They have quarterly board meetings, and they have a monthly paper that comes out and say, here's our revenues, here's our sales, and we get a balance sheet report in between the quarterly meetings. And that happens right now in the boards that I'm on. This is the most disciplined and the most open board, commission, what you call it, that I sit on. And all those other companies are very, very successful, as is Gunstock.
And when you receive an audit report with no observations, that's significant. And the auditing firm is from Manchester, Vashon and Cloquet, which is a rather large auditing firm, and they service a lot of municipalities, a lot of school districts, and they've worked with Gunstock over the last few years. When we accepted the audit report about a month or so ago, we had the senior manager available for folks to ask questions. And the question that I had asked her was, did you receive all the information in a timely manner that you were looking for? And were the personnel from Gunstock available? And you can read our minutes, because I may not say it exactly, but her response was, the team at Gunstock went above what other clients have done in order to make their job easier. So, once again, like with Gary, sometimes information that floats around from areas that is not true becomes just sort of something that we have to bring to the attention of the new faces. And that's why we invite you to come, so you can hear and see for yourself and not listen to or read information that may not be accurate at all.
All right, anything further? Thank you very much, all involved with Gunstock, and your interest in maintaining a great facility. It's going to be a great place to continue having a great county experience and a great ski art. So thank you very much. We have one last item for the delegation. I think it's one last. Thank you, Brian. Let's see. So by statute, regarding meetings of the Committee of Investigation, we need to vote as a delegation, if we choose to pay meeting fees and mileage. That's not automatic. but the statute provides that we may provide those. And I would suggest that we do that. And I would suggest that we do that effective January 1st, 2021, to cover the union fees and mileage for members of the committee when they do their work. So, might I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow for the payment of meeting and mileage for the investigative committee retroactive to January 1st.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Representative Aldridge got in with the second. Thank you. I guess it would be best that members of the investigative committee do not vote on this, including Representative Boards and Lang, if you're not offended by that, since, or
You're not on the investigative committee.
right. Well, they were, and they would be eligible for previous fees.
So I thought it was for January 1 of this coming year.
No.
It's retroactive.
2021.
Retroactive 21. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Is it agreeable? So we'll do this by a roll call vote. And, I'll ask the clerk to get ready to do a roll call vote.
Retroactive, right? January.
January 1st, 2021.
Okay, Representative Howard,
Yes.
Representative Aldridge,
Yes.
Representative Harvey-Billiard. Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Johnson. Representative Littlefield,
Yes.
Representative Flaugier. Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Barney,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Nine to one, the motion passes. And I believe that is all of the business that we have for tonight. We will be back here Thursday night, 7 o'clock.
Motion to adjourn?
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
We
You
are
can
adjourned.
stay.
Where's the guy? I want to stay.